Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right.
Right now.
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 Because it's time to write now.
And we are live. Welcome back to our weekly Right Now Writers Group, where we're joined with writers in the community, and we do that one thing that writers all love to do, which is procrastinate and maybe talk about writing, and maybe we'll get in some work. So welcome 74 meetings and counting, same time, same place, through thick and thin. We chat with other writers. By the way, if you're new, welcome. I'm Kaufman, daily writing streamer, working on the third draft of Scarecrow and making some solid progress. I'm doing a read aloud for myself and doing minor line edits. So that's what I'm working on. Megan, great to see you. If you're just hopping in or if you're watching on the replay, what are you working on today? Are you ready for that holiday vibe? And what is on your mind? I'll kick it over to my friends to intro themselves.
So everyone knows me as Chat Soul. Still working on Age of Ash for the novel November, and I am about 6,000 words until I'm finished. Should only take me a couple days because I've actually been doing quite well on it.
Yay, so exciting. Who doesn't love a world full of dinosaurs? Absolutely love it. And Calvin, I'll kick it over to you guys.
Hey guys, I'm Calvin.
And I'm Madeline.
And I write military science fiction, and today I just finished the second Storm book. Now I'm starting rewrites for my project.
It's been a while since I worked on my book, The Empty Nest. I'm about 2,000 to 3,000 words in, 8 chapters. Maybe 9, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I think one of the coolest things, having more than a single writer in a family must be really cool. Whenever I talk about writing with my family members, they appreciate it. But most of the writing stuff goes right over their head.
Yep, I hear that.
Oh,
yes.
Man. I know. Whenever I think about writing stuff, it's kind of funny. I'm curious if I'll throw this to the chat. Do you guys have other writers in your family whenever you guys are talking about your books or your stories that resonate? Or do you guys have friends in IRL in real life who you can actually connect with over writing ideas, philosophies, and so on and so forth?
I'm in a couple Discords that are fanfiction writing, and supposedly my cousin writes, but I've never read his stuff. And apparently he has read Burning Ember, and he definitely realized that a lot of inspiration came from One Piece.
What? You like One Piece?
Oh yeah, no, nobody knew that, did they?
What?
Oh man, by the way, Megan, welcome. Mama Maggie, welcome. Francisco, Cap, great to see everybody. Hopefully everyone's getting into the writing vibes as we get into the holidays, which for me, if there's a holiday, that just means more time to write. That's what I think of. And also spend time with family. Both those are important. Oh man. So Calvin, how have you guys been feeling about writing in general lately? It sounds like, Calvin, you've made a huge accomplishment.
Well, I did, but it took me 2 months longer than it should have because 2 months ago they changed my work schedule back from 2 to 10:30. So, and I'm no longer a biller, so I don't have access to my computer. So I've been picking, and it's just been I come home, I'm tired, I'm got other stuff to get done. So it's been a challenge getting the writing done. When I'm thinking I'm so close, I want to finish. I come home, I always tell myself I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna put on the TV, I'm gonna write, and then 20 minutes later I'll get ready to write, and then 20 minutes later I'm too tired for this shit.
But I mean, what's interesting, Calvin, is I think I don't think you're alone in that sentiment. I think a lot of people deal with the same exact that same exact challenge and struggle with trying to find time to be able to write like that. Especially when you're balancing work, family life, other responsibilities. That's a lot for a lot of people.
It is.
So, and I mean, I think also expectations as well is something that's really important. So, like, I know you said that you had expectations to finish your stuff earlier, but I mean, I think the fact that you still got through it is in itself is a huge win.
Well, I got through it before the end of the year. That's making me happy. So I can spend the entire month of December just going through the rewrites.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, like I was telling Soul, it's over 305 pages, and I don't know if it's going to go down or up depending on the rewrites because I know there are some sections I've got to add and other sections I've got to hit the delete button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally understand that. And I can resonate with that because even when I think about Scarecrow in general, I really thought that after I finished the rough draft, which the rough draft took me about 6 months, I really thought the second draft was going to go like way faster. So I thought at the very least it would be like a 6 month drafting process as well. But the second draft, of which I'm getting close to being done with second draft, is probably overall will have taken about a year and a quarter. So probably about 15 months. And I'm like, I remember originally earlier on, I think this was earlier this year, I was starting to get down on myself for it taking so long to get through the draft, before allowing myself the freedom and flexibility and for it to be all right, for it to take me longer to put out, which I hope is going to be a good story. I mean, I believe it's a good story, but I'm biased. So I can totally resonate with that. But I think what's really cool, and I mean, you guys can probably both totally relate with this, when your story gets a far enough point and it starts feeling like it's more readable, and more tangible. You guys have both published a book. Did you guys feel like that once you got to like the final drafts of your books?
Yeah, it felt good when I got to the end to be like, yay, it's finally done. It felt really good when I started publishing.
I was just happy that I got to the point where I could actually just have somebody look at it even before it was published. Of course, then again, I also took like forever on mine, so.
Well, I mean, after doing 20 years on book one, I think making it in a much shorter time frame for book two was probably a win.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Oh man. Wow. So like I think I'm curious. So like Calvin, with your book one, how long did it take you from start to finish, would you say?
About 3 years.
So then regardless of how long it's taking with book two will probably take you a shorter amount of time, won't it? Or will it be
Yeah.
about the same time?
No, I mean, I figure I'm only a couple months behind on where I wanted to be doing the actual writing, but then I figure I'm going to spend the next year flushing it out, sending it to beta readers, then doing the final rewrites, then doing editing, then doing rewrites, beta readers, rewrites again, editing, and then final rewrites.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that'll be hopefully like a year.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Do you guys feel like that the later books in your series go faster because you already know more of like the groundwork and the framework of the characters and the world building, or do you think it's about the same or longer?
The second book took quickly. The third book is taking longer than I'd like.
That I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do the third book once I get started. The third book was the only clear one of the series. That's it. And even then, I don't know how it's going to really roll out until I start rolling it out.
Wait, so is your third book going to be the end of a trilogy?
It'll be just the end of that section.
The end of that section. Yeah, and I think I'm going to do something similar. I've been asking myself, Scarecrow, I'm like, how many books will it take to tell a story that I want to tell? And I think it will take more than 3 books. But I think 3 books will tell Scarecrow's story. I think I think I only need 3 books to tell Scarecrow's story, but there's a greater story of the world. In fantasy, I know fantasy and sci-fi books will tend to sometimes will do that, where technically it's an overarching series, but sometimes they'll split like into sections or chronicles where it's like a single story arc, but it still follows characters in the world. Mm. Do you guys see that often with series? Or I'm kind of curious with a series that you guys are aware of. How do you guys usually see like series separated or distinguished from book to book?
Mm, I know with the
Go
Warriors series. Sorry.
Go ahead, so you go first.
No, I know with the Warriors series, it's usually a major story that happens within 6 books. And that in itself is an arc. And then there's usually some kind of a time skip between each arc, and then each arc again has like its own main story that it follows with some minor stories thrown in. I know the Bloody Jack series. Each book is its own story. It's all one overarching story about Jackie, but
Mm-hmm.
each book is its own major event. And there's usually a tiny bit of a skip between each book, but enough that you can definitely tell there's been difference, and it's written in such a way that you can tell that time has passed, but Jackie she's not really like reminiscing, but it's very clear that no, she's like basically saying what she's gone through recently.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Mm. What do you think, Alvin, with series like
Well,
that?
I think of like the Halo series that it started off with the Fall of Reach, which was telling the major story before the game. They had the
Mm-hmm.
Flood that told the major story of the game, and then they had First Strike, which told the post game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they branched off into all these different novels,
Mm-hmm.
telling different characters. And it seems like even the games were influenced by the novels
Mm-hmm.
more than what I would have thought.
That's interesting, but I mean, still like the core stories followed Master Chief, and then I imagine the other novels then probably branched out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Even as I think about like fantasy uh, worlds and stories that I'm used to, yeah, I think it changes. I'm fascinated by it. And I think it's probably on my mind because I'm just thinking about the overarching story. And I know once book one's published, then book one becomes canon. Let's see. And I can tell we definitely got some good writing vibes here in the chat. By the way, Cap, congrats. You said I should have a far more advanced version of Sushi Week done this Monday. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's see. Mama Maggie, the 5th and 9th books took forever. Then I got to book 13 and it's taken the longest of any of the series. FY, 14 is already mostly written. And the fact that you got 14 books out is absolutely incredible. That's absolutely incredible, which shows just how far along you are in your series. I don't think Scarecrow will have 14 books. I was like, I don't think there's 14 books in the story. But you know what? Who knows? Let's see. Yeah, you're like Relic of Time Wars is such a big series and has been a 9.5 year love of labor. And it's interesting. We start working on these stories and these worlds, and we end up spending such time in these like universes for such a long period of our life. Like when I think about how long I'll probably invest in the Scarecrow universe, it'll probably be about 10 years, maybe even more depending. Um it's interesting. Do you guys ever think about like that the long term scope of it, of like how long you're going to be investing into storytelling in a single universe?
I don't look at it in years. I look at it in how many books I want. When Pirates, I knew wasn't going to be just one book. I looked at, okay, well, for the story I want, how many books can it stretch across? And then it's like, okay, well, this will actually work well as a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The other books I've been writing, no, it's a similar thing. It's not how long it's going to take me to write the book. It's just how many books is it going to take to actually do this story. And
Mm-hmm.
outside of the Pirate series, all of them, except for no, all of them are just one book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I think once we start getting series out, I think the whole marketing and publishing side of it is a whole different story. Um, I know you said Jenny Wirtz is having a hard enough time selling her 11-book series. I'm not familiar with who that author is, but I think this is the challenge, right? Trying to get your books out to readership. And then when we think about like how do we sell our books or how do we get our books noticed by our readership, it's like I think there's so many strategies, and the truth is there's no right or wrong strategy. It just you're trying to find the right people to read the book. Calvin, so have you guys had much luck in pushing your first books out and growing a readership for your core series yet?
I mean, I've got like 40 reviews on Amazon.
Dude, good for you. That's great.
I've probably sold about 10 copies. I've made probably about 50, $60, but
Okay. Well, what I've heard from authors who do series is that the more books in the series that you put out, the more the books will start growing and selling exponentially as long as you stay consistent in marketing and pushing. And I mean, I think that's the challenge of being a self-published author, right? Like the marketing side of it never really ends. It's like a constant thing. So you have to figure out how do you build that marketing aspect into whatever your consistency is. At least if your goal is to sell books and grow readership. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. You guys are definitely ahead of me on that aspect. But I feel like I always learn so much from watching other authors and seeing what like other writers and authors are doing. So I'm not sure. Do you guys plan to do any like conventions or writers things in the future and like network with other writers in person?
If I can get my third book written, I will be really looking forward to April when I can announce it at the April Comic Con, because they contacted me about December last year to get a spot in this past April,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll probably send me something again this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but hopefully, I can actually have something to show that, oh, hey, my third book will not be late coming out.
You're like, well, so as long as it doesn't take you 20 years, that feels like a win.
Oh, please, nothing better ever take that long again.
Oh man. Yeah. You're right, Mo Maggie. The never-ending marketing slog. So that's why we always have to learn from each other. Um, this funny moment. Like one thing I've noticed about self-publishing, writing books is easy when you don't have to sell them. Right, guys? If only the books would just sell themselves. Why can't we just put it into the algorithm and it'll just sell to everybody?
Oh, God, if only.
If only. Those days of books selling themselves are about a decade behind us. And I think that's the one of the trade-offs you get for being a self-published author, right? If you're a self-published author, you're doing all the work.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everyone is good at marketing.
And I think that's actually probably a factor that pushes a lot of authors to then go seek representation from probably indie publishers or even the big five.
yeah, but
Do you
the
guys
problem is,
ever consider going like indie or traditional publishing route in the future?
I haven't had any luck with indie publishing. Most of it is like, yeah, we'll do it, but we require you to pay 100% of all the costs, which is like, then I'll just do it myself anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with the big five is they won't, if you send them your stuff, they will not they'll look at it as it didn't come from a representative, so we're not interested in it. And the problem
Right.
is it's been pointed out, even a lot of the agents won't take people unless they already have like a well-established following.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So you guys think it's only possible to get into traditional if you're networked already, and
Yeah.
you don't have to be networked through an agent, which I've heard that does sound about right.
I gotta admit,
Well,
I'd actually like to take Age of Ash through a traditional publisher if I could. I actually do feel like this book could do at least decent,
mm-hmm.
but I just don't think I have the marketing skills myself to actually push this book out.
Mm-hmm.
But I know Pirates, that's definitely self-publishing. But beyond that, traditional. If I had a chance at it,
Mm-hmm.
I might take it depending on the book that they're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really gonna depend.
Mm. And then I think once you go, I think once the book or the books are ready, then it's going through the whole querying process and trying to find. It's like doing it's like the job hunt of books for finding an agent or finding a publisher, and that in itself is a whole process. Yeah.
Well, it's getting the query letter right to make sure they're interested in it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's making sure you follow their guidelines to the letter. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some that are like, "Well, you sent 7 pages instead of 6, so I'm not even going to read it because you can't follow directions."
Yeah, and I mean, I think with a lot of those agents or publishers, I think when they receive probably 100 submissions a day, then it's like, all right, well, yeah, you're playing by their rules, or you're not getting past the door. Which it is what it is. But I mean, a lot of the times, I don't think it's too difficult if you go in and you read the specific requirements of whatever it is that they're looking for, and I imagine each one is probably different.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would go indie or traditional. I mean, I don't know if I would even try to go those routes in the future. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It was a little easier. I could see you trying it, but
Mhm.
it would have to be easier and just it's not.
I think what I like about self-publishing is that I get to keep all of the flexibility and freedom to do what I want to do with my work as I want to do it. I don't know if I would ever go the traditional publishing. Maybe indie publishing if it was like more of like a combined effort, and I could still keep a majority. I mean, I don't know. Maybe building a team. Actually, you know what I would do instead of going at indie publishing, I would hire a team. I would build my own team. So I would get the publicist, I would get the people around my own book because I would keep control, but I would then tackle it like a publisher probably would. And really, all that is it's just networking. It's networking your way into where do you get your books, how do you get your books out there, and I'm sure it's a whole process with a lot of research, time, and understanding. I think that's what I would do. I think I'd be the most interested in that process, but we only know that once we finish the books. So, oh man. All right. So with our writing time today, let's get some writing done. I'm going to throw up. I am almost ready. So are you guys so I know you're working on Age of Ash.
Mhm.
How far along are you into it?
Let's see. I'm at 42,741 words right now.
About how far into the manuscript do you think you are?
Oh, that is a very good question. I think I should be entering the final section of the book pretty soon, maybe within the next chapter or two. I know I'm more than halfway through, but not quite at the end just yet.
Okay. Calvin, what are you going to work on it on?
I'm going to start the rewrites, so
So,
fun.
so excited. You don't sound enthusiastic about the rewrites at all. Is it because there's so much work to do?
I've got over 305 pages to go through, and I know, like I said, several chapters are going to need borderline just a complete rewrite.
Do you have like a list of like notes for everything you need to fix, or is it all just like here in my head? I know what needs to be done.
Not even that. It's just I'm going to read the chapter, and then I'm going to sit there and start typing away, skimming, adding, based on some of the feedback I've gotten for some chapters.
You know, you'd probably save yourself some like sanity as you read through if you like created like a list of like notes or things that needed to be addressed.
Well, right now, I'm just wanting to get through things that are bothering me, and then, like I said, I want to get
That
it
makes
to
sense.
the
It's like
readers.
the course. It's like the core story issues, which you're like, yeah, this is a problem.
Well, I know one thing is I went one direction in the end that I know I need to fix now in the beginning, or else it doesn't make any sense. So,
That that's a really good point. If a part of the story doesn't make sense, that's a big problem. All right, my friends. Let's do it. So let's hop into our first writing sprint and let's see what we can accomplish. So I think let's do 2 writing sprints today. We'll start with this first one. Let's push. We'll go 30 minutes in the clock and we'll see just what we can accomplish. So whether you are writing, editing, revising, author branding, or something else in between, come join us because it's time to write now. All right, and that was a writing sprint. How did that treat you guys? Were you able to make any progress that time? Whether you were here in the chat or watching on the replay, how did that treat you? Hopefully you got in a couple words, a couple ideas, a couple pages, or a little bit of inspiration. Soul Calvin, how did that help at all?
Yeah, I got a lot done and getting to an interesting part.
Nice. That is excellent. What an excellent thing to do. What about you, Calvin? Any
I
progress
only
there?
got a little bit done. I got a little bit done, and then someone came to my door, so I had to deal with that.
It's always the unwelcome distraction right at the moment when we're trying to write. That definitely happens to the best of us. What did I do? I mean, I just went back and reread this chapter. Yeah, I'm actually really happy with how my third draft is turning out. I'm like the book is actually readable. It's so cool. I'm just like hoping Scarecrow's mission is clear enough. Because I'm like at the beginning of Act 2, and just hoping that it's his motivation. I just hope its motivation is clear enough and it resonates enough with the reader. So I'm really trying to make sure this chapter distinguishes that well enough. If the motivation isn't clear, then the reader won't like. Why would they keep reading? So we'll see. But I feel like my read alouds are really helpful. Nice, Lynn. You ended up deleting 200 words for my total for the day. Hey, all progress is good progress, my friend. That's awesome.
The only progress we shouldn't like is when there's absolutely nothing done.
When we stare at the wall and nothing happens.
I was gonna say, staring at the wall can sometimes be progress because you might be staring at the wall and not actually looking at it because you're trying to think of what you're doing next.
It's a good point, especially if you're coming up with brainstorming and you come up with a pretty good strategy for what the next part of your book is. So, I mean, that's actually a good call. That's a good point. So, let's see, Marcella, I came in a bit late, but I still managed to score 281 words. Nice. So close to finishing rewriting both my second and third chapters. So exciting. I'm glad to know that some of us are getting some progress today. I'm curious, when you guys are reviewing or revising your stuff, do you guys ever read your own work aloud at all?
With my other writers group, I guess technically I do, but not really on my own. But I probably should.
I don't read mine out loud unless I'm in Jennifer's group, but I do sometimes hit the. I tell the computer to read it back to me.
Well, that's
so
not
I
a
can
bad
sit there and
idea.
listen to it.
Does it give you another perspective hearing the computer read it aloud?
It does.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I've never actually considered using that strategy before. But I mean, I think ultimately, I mean, the goal is just to hear it in a different context. Yeah, and I mean, I think for me, I think because I'm also an audio person, I think being able to hear the words, even though I'm reading it aloud, like I think for me being able to, I think reading it audio wise makes me hear on whether or not the entire thing is readable and if the things make sense. And of course, my third draft is kind of like the last, like for me, it's like the last final round before I start sending out for more and more feedback. Originally, I was going to go straight to editing, but I ended up deciding I'm going to get feedback from a couple of beta readers. And I was like, why not? Want to make sure the story makes sense. It makes sense in my head. And I think sometimes it makes sense on screen when people tell me it makes sense. So I guess we'll find out. Lynn, you said you read aloud a chapter a week with my other writing group. I mean, I think that's why having writing groups are really helpful because I think, or just writing communities, writing groups in general, I think being able to read it aloud and then also get that feedback can be really powerful. I definitely think so. And like I know Calvin, you said you do that with Jennifer's group. Do you usually get? I feel like you get like good feedback on it when you guys read it aloud.
Mm-hmm. That's what my other writers group does. Is we read sections of whatever we're working on out, and then the other people in the group are like, hey, you need a comma here. This word will work better over here. You're missing a word. I didn't understand this. We actually make sure that we get like really good feedback back. So
nice. That's good. Yeah, I really try to make sure we do that with our Right Now critique group as well. Try to do that similar framework in all the writing groups that I've been a part of throughout just years and years of writing. I feel like being able to show up somewhere and know that you can read a piece of it aloud and get some type of feedback is always beneficial. And even when like I think about like the critique show, I always thought the value for a lot of people was only the feedback. I didn't realize the value for some people is listening to it aloud. So I think it's always interesting. And then I think the thing that definitely helps is having your cats help with the motivation.
oh yeah.
Well, then I like that you have your cat there is helping you with the ideation. Oh man, how would we be able to tell? There we go. It's there's the motivation. It's the muse they're providing.
The muse who is currently not happy with me because I think I woke her up.
Do you guys include any animals in your stories at all? Do you guys have like animal sidekicks or companions?
No, not really.
Animals are usually a pretty big thing in all of them. And Age of Ash doesn't count since that's from an animal's point of view. So
yeah, I mean, dinosaurs is definitely a little different since that's the world that you're created. It's interesting if you ever like kill off an animal, or if you ever kill off like the favorite animals, right? Like a dog or a cat. Readers get really upset. It's almost like readers get more upset when you kill off a dog or a cat that they really like instead of like the human. They're like, all right, who cares about the human? But you killed the dog or the cat off. That's not acceptable. Oh man. Nice, Megan. You said you're almost done editing your story. Nice. Just added in the fixes and revising, got the author bio and signature. Wonderful. You're probably talking about our Freaky Friday, our second Freaky Friday anthology. So our second anthology is well underway. Should have it hopefully ready to publish by end of year. Hoping to have the second Freaky Friday anthology published by the WriteNow A Thon. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Writers are hard at work. Awesome. So we're kind of at the hour mark. I was considering. So we're kind of at the hour mark right now. How do you guys feel about one more writing sprint?
well, if possible, I did want to show off the cover for Age of
Oh
Ash.
shit. So that's cool. I completely forgot about that. You should actually do that. So I know Soul, you've made a huge achievement and accomplishment.
I gotta get going
with your story. You should definitely share that. That's super cool. So preface it first with what do you have going on here?
First, what did you say, Calvin?
I gotta get going to Jennifer's group, so I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, dude. Glad you could come.
Thanks for stopping by, man. We'll catch you later.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
See you, dude. Okay. So, for those who haven't been aware, I've been working on something called Age of Ash for the novel November. It's pro writing aids version of NaNoWriMo. A lot of other companies are taking over that kind of thing and doing their own writing November things. 50,000 words in a single month, and I decided I was going to do something different for this month, just because I've been having such an issue with writing for the past 2 months that I kind of figured, okay, maybe I can just do something else,
Mhm.
and that would be that maybe that could just get me back into it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep, and I know you've been hard at work on Age of Ash for most of this month.
oh yeah, all of like every day this month I have been writing on it. Um, and it has really been working out. I'm actually looking that once this is done, I plan on publishing this.
I think that's really exciting. Where are you going to publish through Amazon?
Uh, maybe. I'm not 100% sure.
And then for anybody who doesn't know, wonderful. Yay. Oh, there we go.
So this is what I have done for the cover for Age of Ash. This is not a final, but
So this is kind of like your like work in progress cover.
this is my concept cover. I want my concept to look something like this.
Ooh, that's kind
The
of cool.
only difference I would make in this cover specifically is maybe changing the color a little bit. And
Mhm.
I love that silhouette, but I would much rather actually do a screenshot from Jurassic World Evolution 3 of one of
Mhm.
my own Pyroraptors
Mhm.
and make a silhouette from that screenshot.
I think so as well. And I mean, I think so I would get once you have like the finalized screenshot portion of it. I think the biggest thing I would get feedback on is if readers look at it at a glance, are they clear it's a dinosaur?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what, and I think that's the biggest thing. I actually I like the concept of the background. You could probably play around and get a little bit more going on with the sky, and make the sky feel a little bit more like that's like the vibe of that time. But I feel like the really big thing is probably the dinosaur creature. And
Oh, yeah.
anybody, whether or not they like dinosaurs or not, they need to be able to tell that that's a dinosaur at a 1 second glance, because then that will help your readers, your
I
potential
think
readers.
most people hopefully should be able to guess it's a dinosaur unless like I really screw it up. Because for those who aren't aware of what Pyroraptors are, they actually are a type of raptor. At least
Mhm.
it's believed they are. They're from the same family, but they are from the late Cretaceous period.
Mhm.
They pretty much look like raptors, except they are feathered. Anyone who's seen Jurassic World, I believe it was Dominion. Yeah, Dominion. There was a Pyroraptor in that movie, and anyone who's watched Chaos Theory, the
Mhm.
Camp Cretaceous show on Netflix, the Pyroraptor actually has a couple episodes. But Age of Ash is from the perspective of a Pyroraptor
Mhm.
as she learns how to survive in her own world after she's orphaned from her pack after a volcano goes off. That is a reoccurring theme. I'm still trying to pin down the exact genre of this, but so
Mhm.
far it's kind of a prehistoric survival literature fiction.
I'm kind of curious actually. When you look up, if like I look up online onto Amazon and I just type in dinosaur books, what actually comes up?
Probably gonna find a
Um,
lot of kids stuff.
I
Most of the
dinosaur
time,
book.
I tend to find kids stuff for dinosaurs, or a lot of informational stuff. Which nothing wrong with that. We need
Mhm.
that, but without really doing like an extensive search, I really haven't found anything for like young adult dinosaur books like this.
Mhm. Yeah, because I mean, even as I just like pull up quickly on Amazon, I see a lot of. It seems like kids is a lot of, and even the adult ones seem like they're more information about dinosaurs. I'm not really seeing any fiction. I mean, not to say it doesn't exist, but I mean that could be a really good opportunity though. That could
Yeah,
be really
I
good. I mean, that's kind of like the same thing that I'm doing with Scarecrow, right? I'm doing a whole world of animals, but that's like very rarely ever done, right?
mhm.
But that doesn't mean that there probably is a readership for it. I mean,
I mean,
uh,
warriors is entirely from an animal's point of view. There are humans in the book, but they're just like background characters.
oh
But
yeah.
the way you're doing Scarecrow, no, I can't really think of any other series that's done what you're doing.
And I mean, I mean, we'll find out, right? It's like Alice in Wonderland. Like, who the heck knows if people will like the world? But I think there's definitely potential. And I mean, even you see what pops up for dinosaurs? Jurassic Park. That's what you're always.
Mhm.
That's what you're going to be always compared to. So, like for me, if it's so, this is the same thing that I'll deal with when I say my book is called The Last Scarecrow. When people think of Scarecrow, they'll always think of Wizard of Oz, right? Even though, like, and I say Wizard of Oz, but Wizard of Oz, maybe the book, the original book series, because the book trilogy is much darker. The movie is like very family friendly, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the tone of The Last Scarecrow at all. But I feel like you're going to probably be dealing with the same comparison with Jurassic Park when people think of dinosaurs.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of expect that. I'm
Mhm.
not going to be surprised by that at all
Mhm.
because my book, it's not fiction. I mean, okay, so it's fictional,
Mhm.
but it's not like fictional. This isn't like The Land Before Time where you've got these cutesy herbivores that are going, to find the Great Valley.
Mhm.
No, this is for those who are unfamiliar with Watership Down and Plague Dogs. That's actually where I'm taking a lot of my inspiration.
Watership Down was another classic. Watership Down was another classic with animals, right?
Mhm.
Watership, that was what, like 70s or 80s, I think. I think that was an early one. I think Watership Down was a inspiration for actually probably another really popular animal series, which was called the Redwall series, I think in the 90s. The Redwall series was entirely animal protagonists in a world full of anthropomorphic animals.
I feel like this has actually been mentioned somewhere in the Right Now community. That sounds really familiar.
Redwall was a popular series when it came out. I think it was young adult. I don't think it wasn't children, and I don't know if it was adult. I'm pretty sure it was young adult. Um, I'm curious, even as I look at Jurassic Park, I'm just curious, like what genre it's listed under. Um,
Yeah, because that actually could give me. I didn't even think about checking the genre for that because I've
I
actually
think it might
just.
be thriller, fiction
Oh yeah,
thriller.
no, me and you did talk about that, and
Mhm.
that was part of it. I'm not trying to do that with Age of Ash because
Yeah, because
this
it's a different
isn't.
genre.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good starting point for trying to
Mhm.
understand where a dinosaur book would start at. Because I mean, yeah.
One thing that actually might make me stand out compared to Jurassic Park, though, is Jurassic Park takes place pretty much in the modern world.
Mhm.
You have dinosaurs that
Yeah,
are
right.
this
Jurassic Park
entirely
is
different
modern world with dinosaurs.
theme park monsters, is how he described it in the third movie. That's
New
all
York
they were.
Times New York Times describes it as a classic thriller of science. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
science fiction and thriller.
Mine, yeah, that's a good starting point for me, but mine's not going to be following that because there's absolutely no humans. There
Mhm.
is no technology. There's no. This is literally set in the late Cretaceous period,
Mhm.
mm, probably around the time that the Earth actually started shifting again into the
Mhm.
final stage of that period.
Mhm.
So yeah, mine doesn't really go. Mine maybe like thriller might play into it a little bit, considering how dark I want to make it, but it's not really the whole thing behind it. It's more of the survival aspects.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is like the challenge. We probably face a similar challenge. I think trying to see what is like the closest reference points can probably help us with figuring out. And I mean, like Lynn, you touch on a good point. You said Lynn is like Redwall is the closest touch point I've seen for Scarecrow. But the problem is, if I tell somebody, I'm like, let's say I'm telling somebody about the book, right, for Scarecrow. I'm like, yeah, it's like Redwall. Tonally, it's probably closer to Never Ending Story. Redwall, Never Ending Story. Even if I mention Watership Down or series that are older, it's just the references are a little more outdated. The average person doesn't know what Watership Down is. The average person may or may not know Redwall, depending on when they were born. I think most people know Alice in Wonderland because the franchises continue to spew out movies. Um, but I think tonally, the story is closer. I think tonally, Scarecrow is closer to Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland from a tonal perspective. Um, but tonally, it's not really close to Wizard of Oz because the Wizard of Oz movie is just very lighthearted.
Right.
Um, Structurally, it's probably a little closer to the Redwall series in a sense. I think there were like 10 or 11 Redwall books. There were actually quite a number of Redwall books, but Redwall is an entire world of anthropomorphic animals. So, and I mean, you're going to deal with the same thing. So, of trying to figure out over time what books it's closest to, because you have to be able to tell people, like, okay, what.
Yeah, I know the dinosaur, like you said, Jurassic Park is going to be the closest thing people are going to think of. But since this isn't taking place in the modern times, yeah, really going to have to find something that
maybe it's finding
people
something
could
like
compare it
tonally
to.
that matches. I don't know why it took me so long to think of Alice in Wonderland. I like don't know why, but I think tonally that's closer. And I got that from somebody else who mentioned it.
Well, I know that if people think of Watership Down, and this might just be me, I don't know how popular this really was on Netflix, but a few years ago, Netflix actually released a Watership Down series that supposedly was closer to the original book. I will admit, I've actually read the Spark Notes on Watership Down, the book. I have not been able to find a copy of it. And that's one of those I'd rather have like a physical copy. But I know I've actually been needing to read that like in full, so I can actually kind of get a better idea of, well, like the tone and stuff.
And maybe what it is maybe it's just coming up with a list of books or movies or things where it can be referenced like so that way when you're advertising, like tonally like this book, characters kind of like this book, and then having that list, like maybe that's what I'll do, right? I'll have like a list of Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, Redwall, Watership Down, and I'll just have a list of books somewhere where it's like kind of like. And Lynn brings up a good point. Another way of comparing it: what would the book's closest comparison would be if the characters were human? That's another good thing. If the characters were human characters, what would be the closest comparison? Because then my story just becomes action adventure, or then it's more fantasy action adventure, and probably closer in relatability to a lot of more fantasy action adventure books, probably. Yeah, I know somebody mentioned that Scarecrow reminded them of an animated movie, I think from the 90s, The Last Unicorn. The concept of it. I never saw it, but when I looked up the synopsis of the movie, I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see it. There's a tonal similarity. But yeah, I mean, these are just like things that come to mind, Soul, because I think these are all good like things to think of in like the long term. Because I'm always thinking of like, well, how do I talk about the book to other people, especially the further along it gets.
I think I might have found a couple things, but I'm gonna check these out before I do much. But they might be a little older, but still be something.
Awesome. Well, Soul, thank you so much for sharing the cover. The cover's awesome. I really like the direction it's taking.
I honestly love I love that I did the covers for the Pirates books, but this is my favorite cover that I've done so far, concept or not. And part of it is, to me, well, I'm not going to complain about the covers I did for those books, but I feel like Age of Ash already looks more professional, something you're more likely going to see on the shelf, like at Walmart or Barnes and Nobles or Target or, so wherever books are sold.
And I mean, I think that's the that's part of the growth, right? Like over time, whether book by book or like cover by cover, because that's really I'm blanking, but that's really image design, and it's like just another skill that you just grow and increase and get better at with.
But I did have one other thing I was going to share for people that were actually liked the Echo After Silence that I did for Faded Fantasy. I shared this in the Discord in the music lyrics section, but I actually went to Suno and I used their lyric thing and I created a song. I actually took the song from a Bound by Song that's already in there, and I put it both in English and in Zarin, the language I created for the book. It actually turned out not half bad. I mean, I would still much rather try to find somebody that could play it.
So if you want to load the music into the studio, we can play it during the sprint.
That is actually a very good idea.
I was like, why don't you load into the studio and we'll throw it up during this next sprint.
Yeah,
See,
definitely.
see if it's fits. You should be able to load it in there. I'd be curious to hear it myself.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I know because the Zarin, I will admit, it's not the exact pronunciation that I actually imagined, but it's close enough, and I'm
Mhm.
hoping that eventually I can take it. I can take it and actually find somebody to play it on the instrument it was played on in the book.
Mhm.
That would be much better, but okay. So that's the native and right because I have like 5 versions of that. I'll find the English version and just through the Discord, and I'll pull that up as well.
Awesome. And Lynn, you bring up a good point with pitching, right? With pitching people, it's the book is like this or like this book. Because I mean, ultimately, the question that we ask ourselves is like, what is the point of pitching a book to somebody? It's so you can give them an idea of what the reading experience is like, so that way they can see, is this the right book for me? And for you, it's finding the right readership. So that actually totally makes sense. Really, you're just trying to find references that will resonate with people from books that they've probably enjoyed, or movies or franchises that resonate with them. So awesome. Let's do it. So what we'll do is we'll hop into another writing sprint. We'll do 30 minutes. So I'll continue to queue up the music. And then if you get it loaded in the studio, we can throw it into the playlist.
Just got it done.
Excellent.
And the first one that pops up is the native version.
Wonderful. It's the awesome. I see those two there. Perfect. Let's do it. So with that on deck, what we'll do is we'll do another 30-minute writing sprint. Let me throw mine up here. There we go. So let's do another 30-minute writing sprint. And I think we're all ready. So whether you are writing, editing, revising, author branding, or just hanging out, come join us because it's time to write now.
Velendaru che tannari tuari muen undrelsal Nevihan shirabe noltari selimal Umare miren mi vembren selimal trenal velen Vishiraner pudnel shirano trenal velen solannae al trenal shirasun taru miren naelai nerei daru vihar Your heart walks many roads Lost one moment, bound the next. A sky of open, bound by wind. But your path is bound by blood. Alone, a little flame burns low. Your split blood sings its dying song. You long for freedom, you long for closeness, but love is not your funeral. Your soul, it sings, it echoes for you. Stay with song, let go of blood. Follow heart, sky and silence. Walk your path beside mine.
All right, and that is a writing sprint. Woo! Oh, how did that sprint treat you? Were you able to hopefully make some progress that time? Maybe you got a couple words in, a couple ideas, or you're able to push before this Thanksgiving holiday. Would love to hear. Drop a comment. Let us know. How did that writing sprint treat you? So, were you able to make just as much progress?
Yep, I should actually be able to finish Novel November either tomorrow or the next day. I've only got 3,000 more words.
Nice. I mean, we only have a couple more days of Novel November, so that's awesome. What was
Yep,
your
last
goal, and then
is
what did you
Sunday,
accomplish?
so
What was your goal for Novel November, and then how much did you accomplish?
50,000 words.
Were you able to hit 50?
Let's see. Right now, I am sitting at. Let me look. Just a bit. 46,316 is what I've done for Novel November so far.
Nice.
So I've got 3,600 to go. So a little more, but it actually gives you like how many tells you like how many days remaining, your average daily word goal, like of what you should shoot for to actually meet Novel November. And it's actually really nice they have it all organized like this, but it is nice seeing just that little tiny bit of the progress bar left not colored in.
Nice. It feels so nice being able to push. And it looks like we got some good progress in the chat. Megan, nice. Wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Glad you're able to push and get some progress in. Welcome, Vamika. Good evening. Got a lot of work done for work with that sprint. Marcella, whopping 321 words. So close to finishing this chapter, I can practically taste it. Love it. Love it. Right when we're on that tail end of pushing into the next section of our story. I made some substantial progress. I'm glad I finished the review of the last chapter, and I'm now into the next one. I went back and forth so many times, Soul, on whether or not to include a dream sequence early on in the book. I went back and forth. Multiple times. But it's interesting because the dreaming in the Scarecrow universe is vastly different because characters don't dream. So I've created a different concept. Characters no longer dream in the Scarecrow universe because when they started dreaming, they would die.
Ooh.
Because something has happened to the dream world. It's not explored until a little later on in the series, but Scarecrow is one of the first characters to have an actual dream.
That is actually kind of terrifying, I got to admit.
It is, and I don't explore it too much in depth. It's meant to be a subplot that kind of has like a suspenseful moment that the few times that I touch upon it. But it's an intentional subplot that's explored throughout the series. But Scarecrow doesn't know that, right? Like you're when you have a character that doesn't remember anything.
Oh, that is that is just terrifying, and I really cannot wait to learn more about that.
But when I first, that's why I was like trying to like go back and forth on how to introduce the concept of a dream early on. And I think the first dream sequence I have with him is short. I only do it a page. Like I don't want like the dream sequences to be very long. Yeah. So I think I'm pretty glad. And I mean, because I do so much foreshadowing in this book, and it's like trying to do so many foreshadowing pieces and red herring pieces. So the reader's like guessing things that could happen. I want the reader to think they know certain things, and some of them will be right, some will be wrong. There's just so many different plot lines that I'm trying to navigate the reader through. So we'll see. It's just interesting. But yeah, I feel like I was able to make some substantial progress. Sounds like you guys were as well. And I think that is a successful writer's meet. So everyone, thank you for joining us today. Don't forget, for those of you who want feedback on your stories, this Saturday is the next episode of the Story and Critique stream. So make sure to submit now, linked down in the YouTube description. Or if you want to join us for the WriteNow A Thon, We got some cool activities to sign up for, whether you want to host writing sprints, games, brainstorming sessions, workshops, or much, much more. So make sure to check out our next writing event. The details about the WriteNow A Thon also linked down in the YouTube description. And most importantly, tap that like button on your way out. Help us show the algorithm that writing streams are cool. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. Everyone, we're wishing you the happiest of Thanksgiving holidays. Hopefully you get to have some fun with your friends and family.
And eat
And
lots of food.
maybe we'll get in some good writing this weekend. Maybe this is a weekend to get in some more progress and finish off November strong. But that's all that I got for you today, my friends. I'm Kaufman, and this is
Chat Soul.
And we'll catch you on the next stream. Take care, friends. Stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on tomorrow. Stay creative, writers. It's time to write
Right now.
Sorry.
Right now, not right now, but right now. Read now, right now. Is that right?